What is up, bros and broettes? I'm Slasher, and today I'm going to be answering the question, how good is the HG40? Now, the HG40 is the newest SMG to come to Black Ops 3. It came out on Tuesday, and I was fortunate enough to unbox it in a supply drop yesterday. If you haven't seen that video, I will leave a link down in the description. Also, there'll be an annotation on the screen at the very end of this video. But today we are going to be answering the question, how good is the weapon itself? Today we're going to be looking at all of the stats for the weapon, deciding how good it is, and then at the very end of the video, talking about the best class setup for it. And let me tell you, the most important part of this video is going to be that class setup, and you'll see why as I talk through the stats here. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's check out these stats for this weapon. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like rating. It really helps out the channel. And if you do enjoy this video, let's say when this video gets to 300 likes, I will do the RSA interdiction, which is the new sniper rifle. We'll do a how good is episode for that one. So let's see if we can get this thing to 300 likes. That would be fantastic. Without further ado, let's get into checking out these stats. So when the HG40 was described to me, it was described as an SMG with a very good damage profile, a very good range, but a horrible fire rate. For the most part, that is correct, but let's get into looking at the exact stats so I can explain exactly how the stats work on this weapon. So as far as the damage profile goes, you're looking at 35 damage up close, 30 at short mid-range, 29 at long mid-range, and 23 at extremely long range. This means you will always be getting a 3 to a 5 bullet kill. This is the best damage profile out of any of the SMGs. It is the best damage profile. In fact, it also has the best range, because this is the only SMG never to drop off to a 6 bullet kill. All the other ones will drop off to a 6 bullet kill, some of them after a ridiculously long range, the Razorback being the longest, but they all do. This one never does. The most amount of bullets you ever need to hit with this weapon is 5. Now, if we're looking at the ranges for this weapon, the ranges is kind of where I disagree with having a great range. It's a 3 bullet kill up to 8 meters. 8 meters is a pretty short range. It's about the size of a room. If you're thinking about a room in any of the Call of Duty maps, that's about 8 meters. And then up to 31 meters, you are looking at a 4 bullet kill. So almost always you are looking at a 4 bullet kill. To me, that's not a great range, considering there are some weapons that have very similar full 4 bullet kill ranges to that, including the Kuda and Razorback, both of which have a much better fire rate. Speaking of fire rate, what is the fire rate? The fire rate is 517. That is the exact same fire rate of the Man of War. Now think about this for a second. Think about this for a real quick second. It has the same fire rate as the Man of War. On top of that, the Man of War never goes below a 4 bullet kill, which means that you are looking at, with this weapon, a Man of War with a worse range that goes up to a 5 bullet kill. Does this kind of explain what this weapon is all about? So yes, this weapon isn't the best. It's basically a crappy version of the Man of War. It has worse range and a worse damage profile and the exact same fire rate. To give you a better idea of exactly how this works, there is only 3 weapons out of the assault rifles, SMGs, and LMGs that have a worse fire rate than this. They all have a better damage profile. That is the Shiva, the MX Grand, and the Gorgon, all of which have 2 bullet kill ranges. This one does not have a 2 bullet kill range, so it does not at all have a great time to kill. So why would you use this weapon? Because it is actually pretty decent at mid-range. There is this odd range where it's like literally like 5 meters where you will outgun certain weapons, and that is really the only reason why this weapon is good. The only other reason why it's good is it's different. It's new, it's exciting, but overall, as a weapon, it does not perform very well at all. Like I said before, a shitty Man of War. So another stat that we can actually look at that's a little bit below average for an SMG is the magazine size for the HG40. It's a 30 magazine size, and that is the lowest out of all the SMGs. That being said, there are SMGs with clip sizes that small. This includes the Kuda, the Vesper, the Razorback, and the HG40 all have 30 round magazines, so it's a bit below average because there are SMGs above that, but overall it is still the lowest magazine size. That being said, if we get into some of the other stats, it has the best reload speed in class, which is also tied with a bunch of other guns, including the Kuda, the VMP, the Razorback. It reloads in 1.8 seconds when there's bullets in the magazine, and 2.3 seconds when the magazine is 100% empty. That is the fastest time in class, and that exactly ties with the Kuda. Now, moving on, another stat we can look at is something like aim down sights time. Again, aim down sights time, very, very average, 0.25 seconds. Not the best in class, actually it's the worst in class, but it's tied with many, many other of the SMG's aim down sights time, including the Kuda, VMP, the list goes on. Again, another really, really average stat is the hip spread. The hip spread is exactly on point for the best in class of all the SMGs. In fact, the only SMGs that have worse hip spread are the VMP and the Vesper. Those are the two SMGs that have a little bit wider of a hip spread. The rest of them are exactly the same, minimum being 2 inches, maximum being 5 inches. Now, this is where things get a little bit controversial, the view kick. So I know view kick is very based on personal preference. The view kick that I see out of this weapon is very similar to the Man of War, except a little bit more random. Sometimes I get absolutely no recoil with this weapon, and sometimes it's bouncing around like crazy. And this is kind of where the best class setup comes in, because if we're going to use this weapon, it's not the best in the time to kill area because of that extremely, extremely low fire rate and the kind of average damage profile. Because let me remind you, this weapon never has a 2-bullet kill range, so it's a little bit underpowered when it comes to the time to kill. Everything else is just average in the SMG department, so there's very few strengths you can play into with this weapon. So I watched a lot of best class setup videos for this weapon, and the majority of them were 100% wrong. People in this game tend to not know what the attachments actually do. Most of the attachments in this game are based on percentages. So what does this mean? A weapon with a high rate of fire is the only weapon you actually want to use rapid fire on. A weapon like this with a slow rate of fire, rapid fire doesn't work out. The stat you want to kind of bring out most in this weapon is the mid-range. So that 4-bullet kill, there's a huge range. From 8 to 31 meters, you are looking at a 4-bullet kill. That is the range you want to stay in, and you want to pick attachments that are going to pronounce being good in that area. So, what are the good attachments to use? As I just went over, rapid fire doesn't really work out. Do you want to know exactly how rapid fire works out? Well, I told you before that the fire rate for this weapon is 517 RPM. You throw rapid fire on, it goes up to 550 RPM, which is horrible. It's the exact same as throwing the rapid fire on the Man of War. It doesn't work. Another common mistake I hear, put on long barrel. Long barrel, again, doesn't really work. All that does is extend the 3-bullet kill range by about 1.5 meters, which really is nothing. There is definitely some better attachments you can use in there. I mean, if you want that little bit further of a 3-bullet kill range, I guess that's alright. But the attachments that I use are red dot sight, grip, stock, and if you need it, quick draw. Quick draw and stock are kind of interchangeable, but in my opinion, the stock is very, very, very important on this weapon. Why? This weapon has a slow time to kill like I was talking about before. If you want to kill people with this weapon, you're going to need to strafe. You're going to need to strafe like a madman. It's very, very easy with this weapon to get off of target because the accuracy on this weapon isn't the best. It's like the Man of War. It has quite a bit of and it's very random. Like I find sometimes it bounces up and sometimes it doesn't. So what this means is you're going to have to outstrafe your enemy, stay on target with a red dot sight and a grip. The grip really, really improves the recoil on this weapon to a huge extent. As soon as I unlocked the grip, I started doing better with this weapon. And then again, as soon as I unlocked the stock, I started doing better with this weapon. Fast mags and extended mags, I don't think they're really that needed, but the best class setup I can give you, red dot, grip, stock, and if you need it, a quick draw grip, because that would just make you snap onto target a little bit faster, and getting the first bullet on target with a slow firing weapon is very, very important. So the real question is, how good is the HG40? And you guys asked me to stop giving it like a school grading system, like from A+ to D. This time, we're going to give it on a scale of 1 to 10. So, 10 being like the Kuda KN44 weapons, 0 being like a pile of dog shit. This one is probably right in the middle, about a 5. It's not the worst weapon in the game, but by no, it may be even a 4. It's not the worst weapon in the game. It's nowhere near the best. It's nowhere near the Kuda. It's comparable to like something like the Razorback. I would give the Razorback maybe a 5, and the HG40 maybe a 4. If that's a good comparison. Maybe I'll do a versus episode of those two. Maybe that's a good idea. But definitely not the best weapon. Definitely not the worst. It's kind of mid-range, a little bit worse than mid-range weapon. So if you want to succeed with this weapon, use the class setup I told you. Stay in that middle range. Don't be extremely far away. Don't be at an extreme close range. You'll get torn apart by weapons like the Kuda, the Vesper, the Pharaoh. They'll tear you apart at short range. In fact, weapons like the Man of War will even beat you at short range because it has a higher damage at short range than this does. It has a 40 damage profile where the other one has a 35. So it's very hard to be in the correct range with this weapon, but it's not the best supply drop weapon. It's no MX Grand, but let me know what you think in the comment section below. Have you got this weapon? Do you enjoy it? Let me know down in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, like I said, let's see if we can get this thing to 300 likes. If we do, I will do the RSA interdiction. We'll talk about that sniper. And thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Check me out on Twitter. The link is down in the description. Thanks for watching, and until next time, peace out.